som. Já tá tudo preparado, vem que o Greg é bom. Menina, fica à vontade, entre e faça a festa. Me liga mais tarde, vou adorar, vamos nessa gata. Me liga mais tarde, tem balada. Quero curtir com você na madrugada, dançar, pular até o sol raiar. Gata, me liga mais tarde, tem balada. Quero curtir com você na madrugada, dançar, pular, que hoje vai rolar o tchê 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 tchê. Gustavo Lima e você. Se você me olhar, vou querer te pegar e depois namorar. Curtição que hoje vai rolar. Gata, me liga, mas tá sem balada. Quero curtir com você na madrugada, dançar, pular até o sol raiar. Gata, me liga, mas tá sem balada. Quero curtir com você na madrugada, dançar, pular, que hoje vai rolar o tchê 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 tchê. Gustavo Lima e você. Gustavo Lima e você. Chora, Gabriel! Yes. Gata, me liga, mas tá sem balada. Quero curtir com você na madrugada, dançar, pular até o sol raiar. Gata, me liga, mas tá sem balada. Tem Gustavo Lima até de madrugada, dançar, pular, que hoje vai rolar o tchê 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 tchê. Gustavo Lima e você. Tchê 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 tchê. A galera canta assim, ó. Se você me olhar, vou querer te pegar e depois namorar. Curtição que hoje vai rolar. Gata, me liga, mas tá sem balada. Quero curtir com você na madrugada, dançar, pular até o sol raiar. Gata, me liga, mas tá sem balada. Quero curtir com você na madrugada, dançar, pular, que hoje vai rolar o tchê 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 tchê. Gustavo Lima e você. Tchê 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 tchê. Gustavo Lima e você. Gustavo Lima. Quem gostou, joga a mão pra cima e balança.
Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. 낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자, 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자, 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자, 그런 반전 있는 여자. 너는 선호해, 낮에는 너만큼 따사로운 그런 선호해, 커피 식기도 전에 원샷 때리는 선호해, 밤이 오면 심장이 터져버리는 선호해, 그런 선호해. 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너, hey. 그래 바로 너, hey. 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너, hey. 그래 바로 너, hey. 지금부터 갈 때까지 가볼까. 오빤 강남 스타일. 강남 스타일. 오빤 강남 스타일. 강남 스타일. 오빤 강남 스타일. Hey, sexy lady. 오빤 강남 스타일. Hey, sexy lady. 성숙해 보이지만 놀 때 여자 이때다 싶으면 묶었던 머리 푸는 여자 가렸지만 웬만한 노출보다 야한 여자 그런 감각적인 여자 나는 선어해 점잖아 보이지만 놀 땐 노는 선어해 내가 되면 완전 미쳐버리는 선어해 근육보다 사상이 울퉁불퉁한 선어해 그런 선어해 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 hey. 그래 바로 너 hey. 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 hey. 그래 바로 너 hey. 지금부터 갈 때까지 가볼까 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 Hey sexy lady 오빤 강남스타일 Hey sexy lady 위는 너 그 위에 나는 너 Baby baby 나는 뭘 좀 아는 너 뛰는 놈, 그 위에 나는 놈 Baby baby 나는 뭘 좀 아는 놈 You know what I'm saying 오빤 강남스타일 Hey sexy lady 오빤 강남스타일 Hey sexy lady 오빤 강남스타일
Excuse me, baby, no. Yeah, you baby, back. Oh, you groovy, baby. In, let's make a movie, baby. Time. Excuse me, baby, let's. Yeah, you baby, go. Oh, you groovy, baby, back. Let's make a movie, baby. Time.
Expression Worldwide, Agent A, reporting live from Cape Canaveral, MK, Big Cypress Rap. Back in time. Miami equals black mask, black gloves with a little bit of rope to tie. I flipped it, black suits, white shirts, black glasses with a matching tie, like Agent J or Agent K, and I wish the whole world would. Okay, I'm trying to make $1 billion out of 15 cents. Understand, understood, I'm a go-getter, mover, shaker, culture, barrier border, record breaker, won't you? Give credit where credit is due, don't you? Know that I don't give a number two. Y'all just halfway thoughts, not worth the back of my mind. But to understand the future, we have to go back in time. I got the globe, yeah, in the palm of my hand. Wherever I spin it, that's where I land. Let's save the world, men in black, I know y'all understand. Stop the movement, they can try if they want to. Ignorar los latinos, sí. They can try if they want to. What pits are a bit raw, took like jigsaw and built it all. Despite a big loss, I bet it all. Ain't fought blind against the world, Ray Charles. Y'all just halfway thoughts, not worth the back of my mind. But to understand the future, we have to go.
Yep.
Excuse me, baby, go. Yeah, you baby, back. Oh, you groovy, baby. In, let's make a movie, baby. Time. Excuse me, baby, let's. Yeah, you baby, go. Oh, you groovy, baby, back. Let's make a movie, baby. Time.
soul for a wish, pennies and dimes for a kiss. I wasn't looking for this, but now you're in my way. Your stare was holding, ripped jeans, skin was showing, hot night wind was blowing. Where you think you're going, baby? Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. It's hard to look right at you, baby, but here's my number, so call me maybe. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. And all the other boys try to chase me, but here's my number, so call me maybe. You took your time with the call, I took no time with the fall. You gave me nothing at all, but still you're in my way. I beg and borrow and steal at first sight, and it's real. I didn't know I would feel it, but it's in my way. Your stare was holding, ripped jeans, skin was showing, hot night wind was blowing. Where you think you're going, baby? Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. It's hard to look right at you, baby, but here's my number, so call me maybe. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. And all the other boys try to chase me, but here's my number, so call me maybe. Before you came into my life, I missed you so bad, I missed you so bad, I missed you so, so bad. Before you came into my life, I missed you so bad, and you should know that I missed you so, so bad. It's hard to look right at you, baby, but here's my number, so call me maybe. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. And all the other boys try to chase me, but here's my number, so call me maybe. Before you came into my life, I missed you so bad, I missed you so bad, I missed you so, so bad. Before you came into my life, I missed you so bad, and you should know that, so call me maybe.
Con te, così lontano e diverso. Con te, amico che credevo perso. Io e te, sotto lo stesso sogno, insieme. Unite, unite, you wrote. E per te, donna senza frontiere. Per te, sotto le stesse bandiere. Io e te, sotto lo stesso cielo, insieme. Unite, unite, you wrote. Sempre più liberi noi, non è più un sogno, non sei più da solo, sempre più in alto noi, dammi una mano che prendiamo il volo. unite to rock.
E noi nel cielo 1000 violini. Per noi amori senza confini. Io e te sotto gli stessi ideali.
Insieme, unite to rock. Sempre più liberi, non è più un sogno e noi non siamo più soli. Sempre più uniti noi, dammi una mano e vedrai che voli. L'Europa non è lontana, c'è una canzone italiana e poi insieme unite to rock.
Hello, everybody. I hope that you can hear me. Welcome to this Lions Virtual Classroom for Europe. Let me just turn on my video so that you see who is speaking to you. My name is Past District Governor Andreas Lukowski. I come from Skopje, North Macedonia, District 132, and I will be your moderator for today's classroom. The idea for the Lions Virtual Classroom came actually from the Lions Virtual Symposium and the Young Lions Task Force. It was an answer to the call for service and an answer to the call for creativeness, inspiration, communication, and education. And this is the first event that is dedicated to Europe, but of course we are going to discuss and inform our Lions friends about topics that are relevant for Lions around the globe. Today at the Lions Virtual Classroom, we are going to try and discuss and find an answer to three important questions. How to organize a virtual meeting and still be within the provisions of international constitution and bylaws and board policy. What tools are available for electronic voting and decision-making for Lions, and are they in line with the international rules and policies? And finally, how to think creatively under the limitations of virtual meetings. Our presenters today include past International Director Svein Bentzen of MD 104 Norway, past Council Chair Jody Burmester of MD 27 Wisconsin, Lion Antti Forsell of MD 107 Finland, and past District Governor Niels Schnecke of District 124 Romania. To begin with, today we will have past International Director Svein Bentzen of Ketlevik, Norway, who has served our association as International Director in the period 2014-2016. Director Bentzen is a member of the Lions Club ASKOI since 1992 and a chairman of the board at a computer software company. In his Lions service career, he has held many offices within the club, the district, multiple district, and the association. While at the board, Director Bentzen served as chairperson of the leadership committee and chaired the LCI Forward Committee in the first 2 years. In the year 2018-2019, he was appointed to the International Board as advisor to the Long Range Planning Committee and the Constitution and Bylaws Committee. As project chairperson, advisor, board member, and chairperson of Lions Aid Norway, he has served and delivered aid in many areas, mostly in Africa. Eye care, child-sponsored programs, education, and building schools, clean water, boring holes, refugee aid, youth programs are all programs that past International Director Benson has been working with. In the past almost 20 years, Lions Aid Norway has successfully implemented more than 30 projects in Africa. Director Benson is married to Hannah, who is also a lion. They have 3 children and 9 grandchildren. And as I've learned and understood, Director Benson has about 30 foster children from Africa who he has been taking care of. Director Benson, the floor is yours.
So thank you. This was overwhelming to hear like this. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Lions, everybody, wherever you are. I am PID Sven Benson from Norway, also endorsed candidate for 3rd VIP. Now, the COVID-19, this hidden and unexpected enemy, has dramatically shaken and changed the world in just a few months. Not only are more than 4 million people infected and more than 300,000 dead from the virus, but the effect on finances, unemployment, yes, the intervention in our lives in general, we all certainly can feel. Even more so, we don't know how this will end. Not least our last heroes, our new heroes, the health workers, experience very demanding and traumatic situations on daily basis in the hardest hit areas. So much has changed in a short time, also for us as Lions. But the needs for our services as humanitarian organization have certainly not diminished. On the contrary, both internationally and locally, we are needed more than for a long time. So, our mission has not changed. Our will has not changed. Kindness matters as never before. Then it must not only be our duty, but also our strongest desire to shake off the disappointments every Lion feel and experience when many of the important and enjoyable events that connect us and which we normally experience at this time of year, they will not happen in 2020. So therefore, let us arrange what we need to do formally in a quick and practical way, and instead use our energy, joy, and creativity to set new goals and new ways of working in a world that certainly needs us. So this is what this classroom is all about. I have 2 sessions today. In this first one, I will try to look at the big picture. COVID-19 in light of other pandemics, and not least compared to other emergencies we have in the world right now. Besides, I ask the question, can our organization benefit from this in new ways of thinking, in new ways of working, so that when this crisis is over and life slowly returns to the normal state, the normal state being a world of still much need and misery around us. When we return to this normal state, can we then be even more dedicated, more effective, and more forward-thinking? In my second part, I will be more concrete, and in addition to highlighting a few points from my fellow speakers in this seminar, I will give some ideas and focus areas from the next level of our strategic plan, the LCI Forward. Picture 2. The world has seen and is constantly experiencing pandemics and epidemics and major humanitarian disasters. And unfortunately, it does not stop with COVID-19. We have all read about the so-called plague, the Black Death, that killed almost half of Europe's population back in the 14th century. Smallpox, we also know, that claimed 50 million people back in the 18th century. But also during the last 100 years, we have had many epidemics and pandemics, like the Spanish flu, killed 50 million people. And can you imagine that HIV, since 1980, has killed 40 million people? The Asia flu, the SARS, the Ebola, to mention a few. So compared to these pandemics, the COVID-19 is by far not the biggest one in number of deaths and people affected, tragic as it is. I remember Bill Gates said back in 2010, 10 years ago, and that was at the time when we had the swine flu, remember? And he said, hopefully this outbreak will serve as a wake-up call to get us invest in better capabilities. Because, mind you, because more epidemics will come. And in the decades ahead, and there is no guarantee that we will be lucky next time. This he said in January 2010, so we were warned. Next picture. In spite of all the despair that COVID-19 brings, we must not forget what is actually the situation in the world right now as we speak. Can you imagine that every single minute, 6 children under 5 years of age, 6 children below 5 years of age die from hunger? More than 3 million children die every year. Malaria kills 500,000 people every year. And we know that measles, remember, 1 shot, 1 life, kills 1.5 million people every year. The same number goes for diabetes, also 1.5 million. And still, after all we did, there is still 1 million people dying every year from HIV. Not to mention that 80 million people in our world, 80 million people are fleeing their homes as displaced or refugees in other countries. So, my dear friends, we are definitely needed as Lions. Also, besides the COVID-19. Picture number 4. So the question is, can the attention and creativity we know or experience in Lions, because we are experiencing a lot of creativity, can the attention and creativity we know or experience in Lions due to COVID-19 help us to work smarter, get more attention about humanitarian work, including, very important, including attention of younger people, and can we come out stronger at the other end as an organization? I think so. But it just depends on you and me. Again, let us arrange all we need to do formally in a quick and practical way, and use our energy and creativity and joy to set new goals and new ways of working, new ways of thinking, and look forward in a world that really needs us. For now, I want to thank you for listening, and I leave my word to my co-presenters, and I'll come back to you later with part 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Past Director Benson. Before we continue further with our second presenter, I just want to remind all of our participants, attendees today, and all of us, all of those following on the social media, on Facebook and on YouTube, that there are question panes on Facebook with the live stream, as well as a comment section on YouTube with the live stream, where you can type in questions. There is a technical team that is going to follow your questions and comments and share them with us so that we can respond to those towards the end of the session. Also, for all of you that are following our webinar on Zoom, in the question pane you can write down your questions, and we will see to it that we respond to those towards the end of the session today. Now, it is my pleasure to announce to you the next thing of the Lions Virtual Symposium. And this is actually the main event for Europe for this period of the year, the Lions Virtual Symposium Beyond the Horizon, where we would look for information and communication and education on how to help, how Lions can help Europe recover from the pandemic. This will be our main question for this session. But we will also go through the different aspects of the pandemic, of the constraints that we are facing, and of the need for our Lions clubs to serve their communities, and the need of our Lions to enjoy fellowship with their friends. At this symposium, we will have as keynote speaker immediate past international president Gudrun Ingvadottir of Iceland, and 2 guest speakers, PID Sandro Castellano of Italy and PID Robert Redby of Switzerland. There will be a group of presenters among whom you will see a sitting district governor from Belgium, Marcel Daniels, 2 past district governors, one from Poland, Kasia Gebert, and one from Slovenia, Marko Gospodinarski, a vice district governor from Germany, Manuela Lotz, a lion, a Leo from Italy, Eleonora Fresia, and a lion from Constitutional Area 1, MD29, I would say, West Virginia, Jordan Glass. Join us, don't forget to register for that event, and join us at the Lions Virtual Symposium on the 23rd of May. As our second presenter for the day, we will have past district governor Niels Schnecke of, Lion Antti Forsell from Finland, who has been a part of our association since 1994, first as a Leo member, while as of 2008 as a Lion. Lion Antti has dedicated his life to serving the association and his community, including as Leo MD president in 2000 and 2001, and as president of Leo Europa Forum in 2004. Even after joining Lions in 2008, he has remained dedicated to LEOs and has served as LEO chairperson and on the Lions Club's International LEO Advisory Board for 2 years. As of 2017, he was first appointed as GMT area leader, and in 2019, he became one of the first LCI Digital Products Ambassador. He's a training professional who has served as faculty at LCI Institutes and is also LCIP certified trainer and successfully brings together his technical knowledge and Lions leadership. Antti, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrea. It's exciting time to be here and talking about the virtual tools that we are now kind of forced to use, but this is also a grand opportunity for us to go forward, and topics that you introduced earlier are very valid for us now and to be continuing. The virtual tools that I'll be talking about are mainly for the clubs. So club level, what can we use? How can we engage our members to be more active, despite that we have been in a lockdown for the past couple of months? So there's various ways. But to start with, I would like to give you a couple of my early predictions how this will be doing. So look at the next slide. This is my prediction. So on the left-hand side, you need to see the situation before the pandemic. The majority of our clubs was meeting face-to-face. There were only a few clubs that were meeting fully online. So that meaning that their club boards and their monthly meetings, all those were online. And the hybrid model means that there are some clubs that were using face-to-face, but then maybe some of the board meetings were online, or for the club meetings, they were organized that some of the members could be joining also online while others were meeting face-to-face. Looking at the middle of the picture, during the pandemic, some of the clubs have said, okay, we cancel our operations, there's no meetings, there's nothing that we will do during this time and wait for the better times. Then there's a small portion of clubs that said, despite the fact of pandemic, let's meet face-to-face, let's take concerns and precautions, we can still do this. However, the majority of the clubs have some format, some level of online interaction to keep going, whether it's a social, whether it's a meeting, whether it's a planning the service project or fundraisers, they have done it. They made the shift to online. And now my prediction is that after pandemic, the hybrid model will be the biggest winner. Some online clubs will be going back to face-to-face, so that this was nice try, not for us. Some of the online clubs will be gaining that, okay, we see this working really well, let's keep doing this and continuing fully online. However, I see that now that we are ramping up these capabilities of virtual meetings and having our documents online and using those, then the hybrid model will be there. But now to start with, I would like to get your inputs, and then jumping to the next slide. Take your mobile phones, take the mobile phone, go to this menti.com and use the code 749707, or you can get from the chat direct link to participate here on this same thing. Opening just your browser and clicking that link. Let's do that. So using the link that is now on the chat, you can open it and we can jump on the next slide already to see what kind of topics there will be. So there's a question: what online tools have you tried with your Lions Club already? So once you enter, we'll see what's going on there. What is the most common, is the biggest. This is the normal word cloud functionality that we will be seeing live here. So more and more of you are putting there. I see very familiar tools and aspects there. The Zoom is the biggest one so far. There's Google, GoToMeetings, Facebook, emails, Teams. And while you are doing this, this is actually one of the tools that you could be utilizing with your club as well. So I'll come back to this a little bit later. And then jump to the next question. There's a more interesting question in that sense, the possibilities of Lions Clubs performing online. So once you submitted the first one, there will be the second question for you, metering expected success of an event and easiness of organizing that event online. And those events are a club meeting, the social meeting, the coffee break or after work drinks, organizing a fundraiser, and a service project. And we see here soon already that how those are changing and what you think which one is the easiest and what is the most successful to be organized. So also here more and more of you are filling it in. I'm happy to see that the numbers are growing bigger and bigger, moving towards the top right-hand corner, that you are not afraid of service project execution online. But obviously we say the meeting is the easiest one to organize. And a social coffee break would be similar to the meeting. You just have the video, just like we have here. And then the fundraising, how to do that. We'll come back to that in a later in this presentation as well. While you keep doing this, please do that, and we'll publish the results of your inputs after the meeting. So you will see how this was from our perspective. But now moving on, looking at the many levels of virtual meetings. Obviously here we have the webinar, and it takes little skills and dedication to get the webinars and Zoom meetings and all those going. But for some of our clubs, it might be a hesitation to jump to the online meetings. So there are different levels that they can try. And starting from the top, the virtual offline meeting, as I call it, that you just have a document in a Google Docs or OneDrive, which is the easiest, that you publish it and give it the link to every club member and say, within next 3 days, please go have a look at this and fill your comments on under each agenda point. So they would be starting that, Antti, and then my comment is this, or I would like to choose this and that. And every member does that, and then you get the meeting minutes out of it with the discussion, and then the decision is something that has been recommended or voted the most times. Option B is the same thing, that you actually agree that let's do this at the same time online. And this is a very nice feature of the online documents, that you can actually see everyone else typing at the same time that you do. So you would say, okay, go to the one starting agenda point 1, agenda point 2, and then type your comments out there when the president say now moving on, and typing there, this discussion closed. So this is one of the options that you have. And then let's start adding a little bit complexity. So having the same online viewing, but then you would be adding a teleconference by mobile phones. And mobile phones, you can add multiple participants in the same call and make it a teleconference. So that would be not requiring a skills to set up the online meeting, but just having a phone call. And one side option with that would be that you would have a chat communication in the option D, that you can use Facebook chat for the group, or you can have WhatsApp group for your club, that you are chatting and giving the comments and seeing that club secretary is filling online that agenda, the meeting minutes as the discussion goes in a chat application. So those are kind of a semi-online, offline options. And then only the last one is that we fully have different tools available. And there's so many tools available at the moment. We are using a Zoom at the moment. Very common is Microsoft Teams and Google Meet. And both of them also provide non-profit free service for Lions clubs. So all you need to do is apply, and then you get the free account and all these capabilities to have documents and meetings and everything online if you choose so. And the latest addition here would be the Facebook Messenger. Just in the late April, they said that we have a Facebook Messenger rooms, and you can open a room just like a video conference here that is available for 50 members for free. So just go to Facebook Messenger and check those capabilities. You find it there. It's a very nice. Then we have a GoToMeeting, which is a paid account. If you want, but it's very simple to use, very simple to start. So that's one recommendation, and LCI is using that quite a bit for trainings and webinars as well. So these are options and many levels. So discuss with your club or in your district, recommend for several clubs that what is your skill level, what is your ambition to do this, where to start with, how to go that. So I recommend that let's take the message, and you can be all participants messengers in your clubs and neighboring clubs and districts to take this forward. Okay, I promised you that let's look at the engagement tools, and on the next slide, I will be talking about some of these. And interestingly, when I chose these tools, I realized later that all of these 3 tools are European made. Let's start with the first one, the Doodle. Doodle is meant to be there for setting up the schedule. When you want to have a club meeting or a service project on a certain time frame, let's say we want to organize a service project on one of the Saturdays in June. Then set up the Doodle, put there all the options for all Saturdays in June, and have a link, and everyone in the club members would go there and vote which Saturdays are good for them. So this is the primary main purpose for this tool. However, you can use the same tool for making a club decisions. So you would be putting there all the decision points that you need to decide from the meeting minutes, and have club members go there before, if they can't participate in a club meeting, having their say what they want to do, what they want to vote for. And at this point, I want to remind you that there are different levels of decision making. And this would be happening for something that is about the service project, or whether we invite a vice district governor for our club meeting for next year planning, etc. However, when we talk about the actual officer elections or very more official topics, then Jody will be talking about later about the elections and how to do that, and what can you do to fulfill LCI requirements based on that. But this is one tool available for you. Then the second one is the Mentimeter that you actually tried already in the beginning. The word cloud and having your say with the graphics. This is a Swedish-made tool available for past few years. And this is meant to be there for helping you to be creative. The word cloud is very nice feature when you want to do the brainstorming, that what shall we do, or how do we do it? What is our next service project, and what do we want to include? So have your say from all the club members, and then you just look at what is the biggest input, and start from there discussing that, is this something that we want to make it happen, and how do we do that? So it's a tool for the brainstorming. And you can also make the polls and metering with that. The last one, Kahoot, is a tool that is widely used by trainers and facilitators and school teachers, because it's a quiz tool. So you can make a fun quiz, or checking out that how much your club members know about the LCIF, or what do they know about our global courses, just to engage club members for meeting, not having just a PowerPoint or boring discussion in that sense. Engage them with this quiz, and then you come back to the results. And Kahoot was found actually in Norway one of the universities in Norway, and it has expanded and now it's also very international. But these tools are European made, as I said. And there is so many other tools available. So go online, check whatever is your need, put in a Google, most likely you'll find tool for your need. And let's use these to engage lively, make it more lively for our club members. Now, I'm running towards the end of my presentation. And in the next slide, I want to talk about a little bit the social media. Social media plays important role today in our club life, in our personal lives, somewhat, and also in professional lives. Social media makes our life faster and faster. Sometimes we expect that we want to be reacting real time, whatever we do. So this is about the visual storytelling nowadays. It's not enough that we put small text message to our friend or small text in the Facebook or Twitter. We start to expect that there's something visual, picture, video, preferably, and this is tool also for us in the clubs. Let's put those pictures, let's put those videos when we do the service projects. And this gives us more transparency, what we do. And when we give pictures and we are transparent what we do, we get also better exposure. More people are seeing that, okay, this is what they do. This is how they do it. Do I want to join? If there's something interesting happening, they would be referring that for their friends, and their friends would be referring that further. So suddenly we have an exponential curve of referrals from one tiny event to make it bigger. And this is a perfect tool for fundraising. So whatever you answered in the beginning for my question, easiness of organizing fundraising online. So have a look, GoFundMe. This is a tool where you can put any fundraiser, ask online fundraising, give it a cause, describe, make it emotional, make it appealing for people that they can relate, and guaranteed you get lots of funds. And then using your social media platforms to distribute that. And the same way, the service project. The social media is our contacting platform where we can share information, do the promotion, and reach the wider audience. Earlier, we had to go from door to door and put all the bulletin boards and the newspapers. Now, let's use the social media. This is a perfect tool for us. And as I said, the social media is now jumping onto the corporate and this video conferencing, online meeting functionalities as well, because the Facebook is offering comprehensive tool for messenger rooms to be used by each group. Okay. As being a LCI digital product ambassador, I also have to say something about the LCI tools. On the next slide. I hope that all of you are familiar with this. So it's a Lion account that you can log in from the from your mobile app, or you can find it from the LCI website. On the top of it, it says the member login, or here it's my app's direct link for logging in. And then you find 5 different apps. While we are doing this, we want to make sure that our members are connected in the My LCI membership register. Update the information, new members. Also remember to update your current and upcoming club officers, because it's important that they get the message from the district, from the MD, from the LCI, what's coming up, giving the current information. Then My Lion is a tool to share with the Lions World what we've done. It's also a tool that you can invite otherwise people outside, tell everyone that what you've been doing and learning from the others what they do and getting ideas for your club. So the My Lion is the service reporting. It's a tool to find out what others are doing. And with that, when we tell what we are doing, we can use insights. It's a analytics tool telling us how do we compare, how much service project we've been doing, how much we've been donating for the LCIF. You can find all that information from there. And then, of course, I want you to show your colors, show your allegiance to the Lions when we organize a service project. Let's be visual, having our Lions logos visual everywhere we go, showing our colors. That's part of the game. And I hope that you have already done during the lockdown that Learning Center. It's a brand new Lions Learning Center available at the moment, launched a couple of months ago, full of courses helping us to perform better. Whether it's club management, whether it's planning and executing a service project, personal leadership development, any topics that are related to Lions is full of online courses. So let's use those when they are still available. So this was my passion talk on the ambassador side and all the topics that I wanted to touch with you about the Lions Club's virtual tools available at this point. So moving on, I think it's a questions time. If there are any immediate questions, Andrea, back to you.
Yes, Antti, thank you very much. It was obviously very interesting for our attendees, as we have a number of questions. First of all, how to address lack of bandwidth using dial-up slow connections, and how to accommodate clients that are experiencing such difficulties. Another question comes from Argentina, and that's on the data security and privacy protection. Next question. Well, I'll let you answer these two, and I have two additional ones for later.
Okay, the bandwidth question is a very good one, and that refers back to the levels of the online meetings that I was explaining. Because if you take the first two options where you have kind of an online virtual offline meeting that you just have a document and you can go there, and regardless of your bandwidth, you can look at the document and then do the update your options and your opinions in that meeting minutes. Or you can add a conference call, which is just a teleconference and which is not regarding the internet bandwidth. So those are two options that discuss with your club and your resources available in your country and location. Data security these days is a very good question. So it's up to you to define what levels of security. Any of those documents that you have in, whether it's a Google Docs or Microsoft OneDrive, you can set the security level. So one option, as I described, is just giving a link and sending that to all the club members. It's fairly secure when trusting that all club members are not posting that link online for the general audience. So anyone who's having the complex link, it's not very easy to just invent that link and find the meeting minutes and participate there. The one other option is that if you want to be absolutely secure, you would be adding person by person those club members for accessing that document at the time. So you can put their email address and then that gives them a access to that file, and you can use that. And if you are further technical and you go to those online options, the non-profit for Google or for non-profit for Microsoft, then Microsoft Teams is, for example, having a secure environment where you have all your documents, and whoever logs in there can access that document, and that login information is required based on your email and personal password. So it's up to you to define what level of security and how do you want to organize that.
Okay, Antti, we have two more questions, and these come from Richard Culverhouse, who has a question on the age gap. One of the challenges facing clubs is that of the age and IT knowledge of members, which means there is opposition, and lack of knowledge, equipment of members. How do we cure that?
In that case, it's a kind of a decision and compromise with the level of security, because if you have just the online document with the link, trusting that even those members would have an email, then emailing that link for them, and then they can access that document online. So that would be the easiest option, as I was saying, the virtual offline meeting, that you can see the document, give your comments, just type it there, and then it's immediately saved over there in those environments, whether it's a Google Doc or OneDrive.
The final question comes in from Matthew Rafa. Have you found any utility to project management software, Monday, Airtable, Smartsheets, etc.?
Interestingly, my club started using Microsoft Teams, and Microsoft Teams comes actually with the planner. It's a Microsoft tool which is based on Kanban boards that you can facilitate the way you want to structure on categories, and you can have tickets and tags and use that for the planning purposes and following up the progress, which tasks are progressing. It's not that sophisticated as Monday or Trello or some other project management tools itself. However, it's free and it comes with the package of Microsoft Teams at least.
And Antti, with that, I think that we have concluded with all the questions that we had for your part of the presentation. I would like to thank you very much for this interesting presentation and informative. I hope that many of our Lions listening, either here on the symposium, in the classroom, or on the social media, will take many of your recommendations on with them. At this point, before we continue, I would like to present another of the virtual symposium events, speaking on the next generation, which will take place on June 6th and is dedicated to Constitutional Area 2, where keynote speaker will be Vice President Patty Hill. And as guest speakers, we will have PID Tom Gordon, PDG Chris Lewis, and we will have also Leo Lion, Kyle Boutillier, Nikhil Patil, and the Young Lions Task Force. As moderator at this event, we will have PDG Wendy Kane from Tennessee, our very own OB Wendy Kane, Kenobi. To present the next speaker at our virtual classroom, we have with us past Council Chair Jody Burmester, who has been a member of her Madison Central Lions Club since January 1993. She has served for 10 years on the board of directors of her Lions Club and 3 terms as club president. Wow. In her service, she was on a number of committees in her district and multiple districts, including District GMT and MDGLT, as well as District Governor in 2017-2018 and Council Chair in the year 2018-2019. This year, PCC Jody Burmester is the NAMI champion for her district. In the past month, operating under the constraints of the COVID-19 pandemic and partial or complete lockdown, PCC Burmester coordinated and led the process of MD elections in her own multiple, of which she will speak today to us. PCC Jody has a master's degree from the Lions University and has completed the FDI and is LCIP certified trainer for Lions Clubs International, delivering training at district, state, and on the USA-Canada Leadership Forum. Jody, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Past District Governor Andrea. Earlier today, PID Sven laid the groundwork for why it's so important for our Lions clubs to be out serving and active more than ever with this pandemic. Lion Antti just did a fantastic job of providing some tools for our districts and clubs to use to be able to do that service, be it to meet, to make decisions, to do service projects, and to fundraise. We're going to shift gears for a moment to an area that may have been overlooked in all of the crisis that's been going on, and that's elections for our clubs and our districts. The conversation we're going to have over the next 15 minutes will help you get through this now if you have not yet completed your elections for your club or your district, but is also food for thought for going forward as we look at better ways to serve our member needs and how we operate. You all should have received a PDF earlier today if you were registered that it will be used during this presentation. For those of you who are online, you should find a link in the chat window to the PDF that we'll be referring to. We'll also send this out after the conversation is done today, so you have that to refer back to along with the other materials we've talked about. So with that, let's get started. Lions Clubs International realizes that we are living in extraordinary times right now. As part of that, I'm going to read something that they put out on their website, and that LCI is asking that we take action in good faith to ensure free and fair elections at both the club and district level. I'm going to repeat, take actions in good faith to ensure that we are providing free and fair elections at the club and district level. So everything we do has to start at our constitution and bylaws, no matter what level of the organization we're running elections through. So as per the standard constitution and bylaws, our elections for our clubs should have been completed in April. Obviously, a number of our clubs were not meeting. Therefore, LCI is asking that these elections be completed as soon as possible. How you choose to do that should live up to your local club constitution and bylaws, but it could include things such as your phone calls, emails, an online meeting, using one of the election voting apps we're going to refer to, or any combination of the above. The goal, again, being to provide free and fair election and allow as many members to have their voices heard in that election as possible. Equally important to getting the election done as soon as possible is completing the online reporting of your new officers for the next Lions year. Those reports also need to be done as soon as possible through the MyLCI system. If you are having struggles with that, please contact your district or multiple district MyLCI representative to help you get those completed as soon as you can. Let's talk about our districts for a moment. District elections are a little more complicated, obviously, as we have more members and clubs involved. LCI is directing that we must have our district elections completed by May 31st. Yes, we all realize that that's just a few short weeks from now. However, without getting those elections completed by May 31st and reporting results by June 15th, our incoming officers at our district level will not be recognized as officers for our clubs as being, or excuse me, for our districts as being duly elected. Therefore, any district that does not get their election completed by May 31st and report the results by June 15th will have to go back and do an appointment process following the Constitution and bylaws and working through LCI Legal. On the screen here, you see an overview of the election rules for our districts as per the Constitution and bylaws. I've added some additional support materials for you in that PDF. The first 3 pages of the PDF are actually directions from Lions Clubs International pre-COVID-19 on how to run a district election. The 4th page of the PDF is actually the form that your district governor or cabinet secretary will need to complete and report by on June 15th. That is called the DA-20 form, and you will see it there. That form and the original 3 pages are available on the Lions Club's website. Speaking of the Lions Club's website, LCI has done a great job of putting together a COVID-19 response area on our main website. Underneath that, if you click on coronavirus, you'll see an elections FAQ, which you see here. On that elections FAQ, you'll find a number of other questions that are being answered in relation to the current crisis situation and how to complete your elections. There's also contact information for you to use if you have further questions that you cannot find the answers to anywhere else. So get your elections done as soon as possible and report them. We're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about, in this time crunch and moving forward, one method that might make it easier to complete the elections, whether it be your club election or your district election, excuse me. And that is by using one of the online voting resource tools that are available to us, either for free or very low cost. Behind me now, you see a whole lot of logos. This is just a small sampling of the hundreds of voting election software packages that are available for you to choose from. Quite honestly, it's overwhelming. There's so many choices. So we're going to walk through a few online voting considerations that will help you decide which of those voting packages is best for you if you choose to use an online election. So let's start with the basics. We've been doing elections as an organization as long as we've been in existence. We are not looking at reinventing the election wheel here. We're looking at fine-tuning or tweaking the current face-to-face election process to work in the online election process world. This does not require much. It may require some relaxation of your policies and working through your district or club, your district cabinet or your club board of directors, but it does not take much to get this done, especially in these extraordinary times. Another consideration to keep in mind is that we must have secret ballots. I reviewed over 24 different packages to determine for this presentation and for our multiple district in looking for the right tool for us. Every single one of them offered a secret ballot. Another consideration that you may not have considered at this point is that many of our Lions are 2 members sharing the same email address. So make sure that when you're choosing your election software, that election software can handle more than 1 ballot per email address. That, by the way, is still a secure election due to the fact that each will get a separate key and login information and password to be able to complete their vote in the election. Next up is making sure it's certifiable. Our district, multiple district, and club bylaws should be defining what it takes to certify the election. Every one of the software packages that you will look at and review offers what is called an audit report. You need to compare your constitution and bylaws and the requirements for certifying an election to what that audit report includes to ensure that what you're going to get out of the audit meets the requirements that your elections and certification committee need to certify your election. Otherwise, the election will not be able to be validated and it will be as if it never happened. In these really tight time crunch times, and as always, finding the easiest product to use that gets the job done is key. At this point, as I went through these software packages, some of them get really complicated and allow for a lot of different bells and whistles that most of us do not need to run our elections. So find the simplest solution that meets the need to get the job done as quickly as possible. And last but not least is the cost. For clubs choosing to use this either right now during their club officer elections or ongoing board votes or whatever it might be, you should be able to find a free software package for voting that allows you to do it with no cost whatsoever. Every package I looked at had, as a matter of fact, a free option. Those of us that have a larger number of delegates will have a small charge assessed for this, for using the voting resource. That price is determined on the number of delegates you put into their system. So keeping in mind the cost. There are other voting considerations I'm sure you will uncover as you go through the process, but this basic list here will give you an opportunity to at least start the discussion and move forward. So let's talk about something that's going on as we speak. Here in Wisconsin, the COVID-19 virus hit at the time when we had to cancel 4 district conventions and our multiple district convention. Our Council of Governors and leadership realized very quickly that we had to do something to, first of all, keep our clubs active and find ways for these elections to be completed so our incoming district officers were legitimate as per the LCI Constitution bylaws. First thing we did was create a special web page off of our multiple district website. You see the link here. You can feel free to access that at any time. Most of the information I've shared with you already on our district or our multiple district election is included as links off of that website. Once we went through the process of assessing our needs versus what was available in each product, we chose to use Election Runner. ElectionRunner.com is a fantastic tool. It had ease of administration and has worked very well. Our multiple district has always run our convention, our multiple district voting and elections as 10 individual districts rolling into one large multiple district result. We mimic that with what we're doing right now with Election Runner. We are currently running 10 separate district elections. That allowed each of our districts to certify their own delegates and also will allow them to individually certify their own results. This also allowed us to be able to ask both multiple district questions and district questions on the specific ballots where it was appropriate. One of the 4 districts that had to cancel the convention chose to participate in the online election through electionrunner.com as well. So that one district received a different ballot than the rest that included the multiple district questions and their officer questions and all the questions that were at hand. Here's the really exciting news. Here in Wisconsin, our 7-year average number of delegates is 319 that have been able to vote at our multiple district convention face-to-face. This year, when we closed our certification, 655 delegates had been registered, and that represents 29% of our clubs. We are getting more participation online than we've received face-to-face by double or more in the last 7 years. This is such exciting news for us as an association. To hear from more of our members, to get more of their input in how we operate is really what it's all about. So as a multiple district and as a district, we will have to be looking at this going forward as this being our new means of running our elections. I would also like to add that this was cheaper than doing our old way of doing it. We didn't have to print anything as a multiple district. In total, this election, running all 10 of these elections through Election Runner, cost us less than $175. If you think about the amount of time and printing and trees and all the things that we save through that, plus the fact that we've got more participating, this is a fantastic option for all of us to consider in how we run our elections going forward. So let's go a little bit deeper into some of the materials I provided for you. We talked about how all of our elections must conform to the Constitution and bylaws of whatever level of the organization we're doing the election for. In your packet, the next 3 pages should be the call for election that we sent out on April 10th, along with the overview of the process you see here, and along with the delegate submission form that our clubs were able to send their delegates in on. Feel free to use these, adapt these however you need if you'd like to use those in your local elections. We found that this process worked very well for us with getting the election packet out. We were able to get it out the 30 days in advance required by Constitution and bylaws. And as you can see, we followed through all the other touch points, including making sure dues were paid 15 days in advance and all of those items. The last 2 pages of the PDF I shared with you are actually should be a nice roadmap for all of you. What that is a detailed report of how we communicated, how we educated, and how we brought all the stakeholders in that it required behind the scenes to implement our election. That is detailed for you and available for you for any time. I believe I'm at questions, Past District Governor Andrea. We didn't have a lot of time. Elections is a very deep area, but we wanted to touch on just a few of the tools you might use and might take into account in using your elections this year. Before I take any questions, I would add that it is imperative, again, that clubs complete their elections as soon as possible and get them reported in MyLCI, and that our districts get our elections completed by May 31st, if you haven't done so already, and report with Form DA-20 by June 15th. Andrea?
Thank you, Julie. Just a second, let's look at each other. Thank you. I mean, this is really the presentation that we were all looking for at this point in time, when plenty of people are either not willing to have elections because they don't want to go, or not willing to have elections because they don't want to come. I have 2 questions for you. One of them coming from Anelia Kaneva from Bulgaria. And the question is it acceptable to organize district elections via Zoom polls by setting anonymous voting?
The first response I would give is, as long as it's legitimate and legal as per your Constitution and bylaws, according to LCI's directive, that is a legal means of conducting your election. That was legal. Yes, the answer is yes.
Thank you. The second question is from Eva Helka, and the question is with regards to well, it goes like this: what decision should be taken if our district constitution and bylaws do not allow or do not have the opportunity other than a standard meeting for secret voting?
I would suggest that you visit that page on the Lions Clubs International website that covers FAQs for elections during COVID-19. There are some considerations that LCI and the International Board have put into place during these extraordinary times. I am not a legal expert and don't want to misrepresent what that says there. If that information isn't covered, if your question isn't answered there, feel free to contact LCI Legal and they will respond very quickly to questions related to elections at the district and club levels.
Thank you, Jody. I think that this has exhausted all of our received questions so far. Maybe there will be some other questions later, but of that during our question and answer portion of the session. Thank you, Jody, again for the presentation.
Thank you all for the opportunity and good luck with your elections.
Okay, then we go to the final, well, before we go to the final presenter of the day, I have to speak to you about Lions Virtual Universe, which is a Facebook page created for such events and for entertaining Lions, not just entertaining in the sense of partying with Lions, although there is pretty much partying going through the Lions Virtual Universe, but also for all of the virtual sessions that we are organizing, that are being organized and have information and education for all of you in place. If you have not if you have not followed or liked the Lions Virtual Universe page so far, please go to Facebook, find Lions Virtual and click like on the page, and that way you will be able to follow all of the new activities and events posted there. If you have not subscribed to our Lions Virtual channel on YouTube, please do that and you will immediately receive notifications once there is a live event going on YouTube from Lions Virtual. And now the final presenter of the day, PDG Niels Schnecker. And remember when we talk to our older Lions friends, when they speak about my president, this, my president, that, well, everybody has my president, I have my trainer. PDG Niels Schnecker is a charter president of Lions Club Bucharest Millennium and has served in all roles in his club and in District 124 Romania, including as district governor in the year 2008-2009. He was part of the host committee for the Europa Forum in Bucharest in 2007 when he served as forum treasurer. And since 2015, he has been part of the European leadership, first as GLT area leader and then as GAT area leader. He is a professional trainer and has mentored many European Lions so far. And this is the part when I say my trainer, my facilitator. Niels has mentored at the SLLI. For those of you that remember Senior Lions Leadership Institute, I remember Niels there as well. And the ALLI, the new successor to the SLLI. At the ELLI, where we both served together, and the FDI, where he facilitated my sessions, he was my instructor, and at the FDES, the Excellence Series, where he was also my instructor. Lastly, he has also served as facilitator at the Lions Certified Instructor Program, but also he has instructed incoming district governors as group leader at several DGE seminars. PDG Schnecker is married to Julia, a diplomat. They currently live in Spain, and he has a son and is an excellent cook. Niels, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, Lions friends, wherever you may be. As much as we are from all around the world, these days we are united not only in our great association, but also in the surrealistic story of this coronavirus pandemic. I'm Niels Schnecker. I am, as Andrea said, the GAT area leader for Area 4C and G, which is Central and Eastern Europe, and I speak to you right now from Madrid, Spain. I would like to open a discussion today about the ways in which we can continue serving our fellow man during these difficult times, and the way we can shine as lions during the coronavirus pandemic. Slide, please. And because I am a Global Action Team practitioner, I thought I might start by reminding us that the brilliant ideas and the great service do not come from Lions Clubs International, nor from our great districts or their officers or cabinets, but rather from the clubs and their members. It is the clubs that drive our association. It is the clubs that are in the first line of service. And during this global tragedy, it is the clubs that we must ensure that they keep cranking and turning and serving their communities. Because it is in these communities that the tragedies are unfolding, not only as a direct result of the contagion, but more as side casualty to this dreadful disease. Imagine the older person that cannot get their food or their medicine because they cannot go out of their house. Or imagine the older person who has no one and who needs to hear a friendly voice, to know that somebody out there cares. I mean, I'll give you an example. My in-laws, they're in their late 70s, and my father-in-law, he's really going crazy, although they're two. I mean, it's my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, but still, he's going crazy because every single day he used to go out, walk, he used to sit and play cards with his friends on the bench in front of the apartment block. Now he's locked in. There's nothing he can do. Think about the child whose parents are on the front line fighting the good fight in an overcrowded hospital and whose school has been put on hold. He doesn't have the parents there to help him with the homework, or whose friends are now more virtual than ever. Now, true, this generation is virtual anyway, and they have no problem claiming hundreds of friends on social platforms, but still, they are also playing outside, which now they don't do. All these and more need to be served by us, Lions. But Lions also need to be served. They are missing the camaraderie and the fellowship, the ones that they have usually in the club meetings. They're craving for the leadership training and development. I know a lot of Lions that kept asking me, so when are we going to restart the institutes? As in face-to-face, not just virtual, institutes. They miss it. They need to share their love for service. They don't have, except My Lion, where they can write about what they're doing, or Facebook or the platforms, but they don't have other Lions to share it live. And as some of the questions were meant to Antti, as in how do we cover the age gap, myself being now closer to the age of refusing virtual meetings, I can tell you that some of them really need somehow to be taken care of, although they cannot meet somebody face to face. And last but not least, all clubs need more hands. And now is not the time to stop getting new members. Let's take them one by one. Slide, please. All clubs have programs that are customized to the needs of their communities. Some of these activities might require the kind of action which now may not be possible, like eye screening or blood drives or park cleaning. We're mostly confined in our homes, or some might be allowed to go to work, but still the social distancing rules are prohibiting us from gathering. However, there are old activities that can be transformed, or new ones that can be planned and executed even under these strict rules. Many clubs have started collecting or procuring masks and other personal protection items for the hospitals and the medical practitioners in their area. Other clubs have decided to call daily lonely elderly people that are not connected to online, so they cannot chat or video chat or whatever, and just talk to them or make sure that they are well, help them get in touch with people or institutions that can help them with their daily needs, or just simply pass the time with them. Other clubs I know have decided to tutor children that are now studying at home online, especially, as I was mentioning, children of those whose parents are in the front line working, be it medical professions, be it delivery, be it drivers, be it whatever, but children who don't have their parents next to them, clubs can offer the tutoring service. Even our global causes need not to suffer. We might not be able to raise funds for our Campaign 100 at the same level as we did before. We can still use the online tools that Antti was talking about, but it won't be probably at the same level. But we certainly can find a way to communicate with, for instance, the diabetics in our communities and ensure that they have their required medication. And although as a result of the isolation, the environment has been probably the only one that benefited, the air is cleaner in the larger cities. We even see wildlife appear on the streets. In my country, for instance, Romania, dolphins have been spotted along the piers of Constanța Harbor due to the lack of shipping activity. Sooner or later, the economy will restart, but we could preemptively have online environmental campaigns. Let's not forget about the less fortunate in our communities who, even during normal times, have struggled making ends meet and putting food on their table. We most certainly can, during these trying times, help them have their daily bread. What about those that are visually challenged and that used to have someone visit them, maybe even from our clubs, and read to them? Well, we can still pick up a book, call them, and read to them on the phone. Last but not least, we should consider that amongst the COVID-19 infected people, there are also parents of children suffering of cancer. You can imagine that if found positive, these parents would have to be quarantined in order not to infect their children who are at a very high risk. Clubs can organize babysitting services, for instance, for these children. These are just a few examples of how clubs can continue their community service during this terrible pandemic. Let's look a little bit to leadership. Next slide, please. Actually, the needs of the communities are higher now than during normal times. With all the news about the coronavirus, we sometimes tend to forget that the world is continuing with the old problems. I mean, it always had them even before November 2019, and that the pandemic is only compounding these problems, which means we need many more hands to join our clubs and to help their communities and the world, because this is our purpose, to serve. So if we cannot have live club meetings and if we cannot meet in person, what can be done? We simply move everything online, as Antti showed us. In Europe, we are lucky because the great majority of the membership is computer literate and has access to internet. Yes, there are some that simply don't want to, but even there are ways to show them the advantage and to change their mind. And maybe in the question session, we can talk about that. Districts can organize district-wide membership drives using social media as platform. Younger members, and this is one of the big advantages because we are now addressing more younger members than elderly people, younger members can organize online parties using different conferencing platforms like Zoom. My district, for instance, organized a Leo Lions Club charter party on Zoom, and it was awesome. Awesome. You won't believe it. There were 96 guests from all around the world. We had, including an international director and 2 board appointees. We had simultaneous translation from Romanian to English because the charter party was in Romanian and the foreign guests were all speaking English. So we had simultaneous translation on a separate channel because Zoom is offering that possibility. We had the full charter protocol, including anthem and everything. We followed it by the letter, and the participants were dressed in formal dress, as you can see in the picture on your screen. No, why don't we see the picture? We don't see. No, oh, sorry, we're on membership. There? No, no picture? Oh my God, what happened to my picture? Okay, I'll see how I can do that. But anyway, in the picture, you can see that we were all I mean, the governors in white jacket with bow tie, quite nice. Indeed, below the belt, it was in tracksuit, but above the waist, it was formal. Okay. This charter party was published on different social media, and as a result, District 124 Romania is preparing now a new Leo Lions Club, and that since March until now. So immediate results. In the same way, clubs can publish on social media their club meetings, or at least part of it, or they can invite online guests to assist at such a meeting. It all comes down to leading the clubs and the members into the online world and looking there for as many people that share our values. Next slide, which should be leadership. Right. Speaking of leadership, we must not forget these days that leadership is a quality which is trained and developed. This seminar, for instance, is part of an initiative called, as Andrea explained to you, Virtual Classroom Symposium, and has the purpose of sharing and discussing different topics of interest to clubs, districts, and multiple districts, and are run at international level. But the same thing can be, without any doubt, offered by the districts or multiples at national level. The materials can either be custom created, as the content of this symposium has been created by its presenters, or there's a whole store full of resources available online at lionsclubs.org that can be used and customized. On top of it, there is, in connection with membership drive, districts and multiples can look into the Young Lions Leadership Seminars, or the YLLS, which is a program developed by past international director Nessim Levy, initially for multiple district 118 Turkey, that is meant to attract young professionals at the beginning of their careers who would be getting professional training in subjects such as project management, time management, conflict resolution, financial management, fundraising, and so on, subjects which we have in our Lions curricula, and which are normally part of the MBA curriculum, and that would be very valuable to their CVs in their professional careers. The multiple is offering these courses as modules for free, obviously, but for members only, which means that the young person would require to commit for at least 2 years of service as a Lion member. Multiple District 118 made the experience that 80% of them, after the 2 years, continue to remain members. That's, I think, a great percentage. I think that the youth especially is a predilect candidate for leadership training during these times because they already feel at home in the virtual environment, and that can be used as an advantage. Next. At the end of the day, no, next slide. We did that. There we go. At the end of the day, it all depends on us as Lions to shine, as we always do during catastrophic times. This is who we are, and this is what we do. We serve. The harder the times, the better we do it. So for us, the coronavirus pandemic is just another opportunity. If you have any questions, I take them now or later. Thank you.
Thank you, Niels. One question that came in only now: should we replace from now 20% or more of our F2F meeting with virtual meetings, face-to-face meeting? Is this going to increase the members' participation and efficiency and lower the expenses or decrease the interest because of the lack of the social side of Lions meeting?
It depends on the club. My club has been a hybrid club now for the better part of 8 years. And we came to do that because traffic in Bucharest is criminal. I mean, it just takes to get from one end of Bucharest to the other end of Bucharest, it takes you 2 hours or more. So we decided that since we had our meetings at 7 p.m. On a weekday, we decided that it's easier to have those that can arrive, and those that can't arrive joined us virtually. And that increased the participation level of the members in the club. So I think from a personal perspective, I think that virtual meetings or hybrid clubs are indeed the future. As to the elderly members, because I saw very many questions raised about the fact that there are elderly members that refuse or don't like it, or things like that, there is a way to persuade them. And I've seen it done in a club in the UK, which is a club in which majority of the people, the average age was above 60. And the younger ones wanted to create this possibility of hybrid. And the way they did it is they have created online meetings, exclusive online meetings, in which they invited speakers, guests, which the elderly people absolutely wanted to see. So they had two choices: not to see them or go online. They did it once, they did it twice. The third time, they didn't have to be pushed. They did it even to a normal club meeting. They joined online if they didn't make it to the club. So you can convince even the elderly sometimes, or the more stubborn, by persuasion.
Thank you. This was a question from Ciprian Joseph from District 124, Romania. And we have another one from Single District 132, North Macedonia. Can I link to more information about the fantastic Turkish model for young Lions be provided?
At this point, we are running a test program in Romania, as Constitutional Area 4 has, well, let me do it differently. Lions Clubs International has decided to run a test in Europe. Constitutional Area 4 has decided that the test should be run in Romania. We will, in the year 2020, 2021, we will have a full YLLS program developed in order to see how it works outside Turkey. If it works, then we will bring it to everybody. At this point, if you want, though, to apply pieces of it, not as a full program, please get in touch with your area leader, with your GAT area leader, and he or she will be able to supply the information.
Okay, well, thank you, Niels. Thank you for the excellent presentation. I think that we have exhausted all of the questions so far. And as there are no other questions, additional questions coming in from all of our social media, I think that we should continue forward. But before we go forward, with the virtual classroom. Let me share some information with all of our attendees and those that are listening to our virtual classroom over the social media. In the following hours after the classroom, or up until one date, well, up to 24 hours after the classroom, we will share over an email with you all of the presentations and handouts that were presented today at the classroom. And we will also share with you a link to our evaluation form. For the link for the evaluation form, I would kindly like to ask you to fill it in so that we can improve and have the symposium better. Now we continue with our closing part, where the wrap-up will be done again by our very own PID Sven Bernsten, who will speak to us about LCI Forward and where to from this moment on. PID Bernsten, it's your turn.
Yes, you can hear me, but I think the video, start my video. There it is. So I think we're on. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, everybody. So interesting. I'm going to talk to you now about the LCI Forward. My name is still Svein Bernsten from Norway, also a PID, also endorsed candidate for third vice president. So in this second part, I will talk about LCI Forward, report on successes and failures so far, and point out maybe some important strategic issues for LCI and LCIF for the coming years. Now, in the picture, you can see the slide, you can see up in the right corner, the strategic wheel. And this is not so very original in one way, because the four focus areas are pretty much the same that every business should run through. We need to constantly improve the product we have. We need to go look at marketing, how we profile ourselves. In the third quadrant, how do we run the business? How do we organize? Are we effective? And up in the number 4, how do we treat the customers? How do we improve our market intelligence? In this part, of course, we have 2 customers in Lions. We have the members and we have the ultimate customers, which are the people in need. So the strategic plan, LCI Forward, provided a global vision to guide Lions clubs into the future. And this plan began in 2015-16, when we achieved some incredible things. Thank you so much, Lions around the world. And I was lucky to be part of this as chairman and lead this work for the first years when the plan was made, and also when it was set out into real life. So here's some of the highlights and certainly some of the issues we need to address. If you look at focus area number 1, enhanced service impact and focus. We conducted a global service assessment before we started, including a Lions survey and around the world, and to research into humanitarian issues the world was facing. So while clubs continue to serve in ways they best meet needs in the communities, Lions really, and this was astonishing, managed to unite to focus on some of the greatest challenges facing humanity. And you know, we chose the 5: the diabetes, the hunger, the vision, environment, and child and cancer. This was maybe the biggest achievement we did. Before we did this, remember LCIF, I think LCIF was probably having activities in more than 40 different segments, 40 different areas. Impossible to focus. So this was a huge achievement. But we were aware of, which is not so clearly seen in this picture, the prioritized segment for the activities, and this is very important, that is children and youth. Children and youth. So of course we help elderly people, but children and youth is the main focus, is the main segment for our goals and activities. That is the future. Also, in addition to this, there will always be disasters. There will always be disaster relief whenever a crisis occurs. To assist Lions, beginning the service in these new courses, we created a service journey resource, including 21, I think, project planners, a community needs assessment, and also guides to fundraising and local partnership. We launched a huge campaign, Campaign 100, empowering service in 2018, with a goal of raising $300 million. This is the largest, by far the largest fundraising effort in history of Lions. And through the support of Lions around the world, we are working to achieve this goal and to assure that Lions have the resources to expand the service impact, so we can bring hope where it's needed. But mind you, the amount of money we collect in this campaign and fundraise around the world, in more directly in each club around the world in local projects. What we do locally and spend locally is probably 5 times the amount of the 300,000 million. Not to speak of, which is the biggest value of what we do. That is the time we spend. That is the hours we as Lions spend in direct local activities in the communities. So sometimes it sounds like it is the 300 million, that is what we do. But the amount is much bigger. I think the money-wise is 5 times bigger, and I think we sometimes tend to forget that the biggest value is the hour to really be a fellow person to help locally in the clubs, in the local communities. That is the biggest value we have. Focus area number 2, strengthen public opinion and improve visibility. We launched Kindness Matters, which was a global advertising campaign in 2017, which was extremely well received by Lions worldwide. New brand guidelines were developed to strengthen our brand and highlight the diversity and service of today's Lions clubs. And new resources were developed to put the Power Lions brand to work for clubs. We also launched digital editions and apps for the Lion magazine, deployed My Lion mobile app, and we completely redesigned the website, lionsclubs.org. And we are continuing to improve and enhance our digital products so we can provide the best experiences possible to Lions. And this is crucial to be successful in the future. We also launched a new platform for emails, campaigns, and surveys, and a new project management platform for more efficient operations. It's helping create better communication experience, and provide more relevant content to members. Third quadrant, pursue club, district, and organizational excellence. We developed a club quality initiative to help members focus on continuous improvements in clubs and operations, membership, and service and marketing. And then you all remember the establishing of the Global Action Team, the GAT. That was launched in 2017 to better connect Lions with resources provided by Lions International, and most importantly, to see leadership, education, activities, membership issues, and services we deliver together in one team. The three together in one team. They are so interrelated and so necessary for each other. So that I think that is very important to get the GAT teams working united. The GAT field teams connects clubs and district leaders with tools and resources while providing feedback on what clubs and these districts need to be successful. We also built a centralized member service center, which is mentioned earlier today, the MSC, to improve member support. And the goal is, we are not there right now, but the goal is to answer a support ticket within 48 hours. That is the goal, and hopefully we'll soon be there. Focus area number 4, which was improve membership value and reach new market. All Lions and Leos can now access the upgraded Lions Learning Center, your center for online training. We also implemented the Learn application, which includes GAT reporting tool, and will continue to effort within creation of individual Lion learning records and global learning dashboards. More than 2,000 specialty clubs were formed for members who share a common interest. And for younger members, we expanded the benefits and the range of age for Leo Lion Transition Program. And we also chartered the International Centennial Lions Club, a worldwide virtual club for former members, and developed a template to help Lions charter more virtual clubs. So these are some of the perceived successes of the LCI Forward program. Picture number 2, please. We have already made comment on this, but look at this. It is remarkable to see that today the majority, the yellow, the majority of activities stems from courses where we had little or no activity registered before 2015. Can you imagine? I will say the global overarching challenges of the 5, namely hunger and environment, have now by far the biggest interest and attention. And I think this is also very important to look at and do more, because this is something that will definitely hit the next generation, the younger members. Hunger is a huge problem, of course, and not to speak of the threats to the environment we are facing right now. We also see on the right side of this picture that we have achieved more than 2/3 of the fundraising goal, which is fantastic. Picture number 3. what are the shortfalls and what do we need to look at in the years to come? You know, a strategic plan is difficult to build for a global association like ours, with a huge variety of cultures, priorities, and needs. And it is even more difficult to implement it. It takes time. It takes education, and it takes patience. And it takes, maybe most of all, loyalty and backing and ownership from the leadership at all levels, but most of all from the top level. And I think we as leaders, we still have a way to go to really stay behind the strategy and be loyal to it and really learn what it's all about. So we have a way to go here. I think the use of technology is more and more important, as we all know. And we have in the past absolutely successes, but we also must admit, we did some failures. We have some failures in the LCI Forward in the beginning. It's getting better and better, but this is technology is technology. So we have successes, but also failures. We have spent much energy in becoming more professional in the way we present ourselves. But the competition of awareness in today's world is tough. And one might question if we are more known as Lions today than we were before. Probably not. This is one of the things we really must focus on even more in the next period. Even if we have seen new ways of establishing and organizing clubs, I think we cannot say that we so far have got a good answer to the episodic voluntarism trend. People who want to join Lionism for a short time or to be part of a certain project from time to time. We haven't really got the answer yet, how to embrace that population, those members. So that is a job to do in the future. We are not anymore, I would say, an international US-based organization, because that's what we were years ago. But we are truly a global humanitarian association. LCS Forward has helped us on that journey in many ways, but we have not yet really found the answer of being global and at the same time truly embrace the local cultures and ways of presenting ourselves and acting. This is also a very important issue to focus on in the next period of LCI Forward. Being global, but also responding to the local cultures and understand it. For most Lions, LCI and LCIF are the same. The LCI Forward process has brought the two parts closer together, and we need to continue this focus. We need the same strategies, we need the same goals. Otherwise, I think we will confuse Lions. At last, I want to stress the need of modernizing the ways we operate, especially on the higher levels of the association, I would say. we should use much more, we should use much more technology, which would save a lot of time, a lot of traveling, a lot of money, and it would also be far, far better for the environment. And my experience from business life is that it also in many ways is even more effective in coming to conclusions and actions. We more or less have the same structures that we had 50 years ago. Same processes, same committees, same structures. In my mind, the world is changing and it just doesn't make sense. Picture number 4. So friends, a summary from my side of this seminar would be: kindness matters more than ever. Lion services are needed, definitely. On the more practical thing, do the club elections as soon as possible and remember reporting to my LCI. Please do the elections, district elections, by the end of May. And try to build on the experience, ideas, and creativity we see now due to COVID-19 to improve membership, leadership, and service activities through online meetings. And let us challenge ourselves to make more use of technology and virtual meetings in the future, also after this crisis. And then I would hope you would study and embrace the next steps of LCI Forward to further improve the association, both locally and also globally. So Andrea, that was my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, PhD Sven. It was an excellent presentation, very inspiring, very much inspiring, very much heartwarming, and I hope that the feeling is shared with all of the Lions of Europe. I have a question that any one of you would be able to take, either you, PhD Sven, or Niels, as he was already speaking on reporting, service reporting yesterday. It's regarding MyLion and reporting service. Are there any KPIs? Sorry, regarding the reporting on MyLion, there is a loose KPIs range. Do you see any way to align these reporting indicators to a certain standardization or set of good practices we may see for similar activities for very different reported KPIs? If anybody would like to answer that, I would very much appreciate. And this was a question from Ciprian Josep from Romania. Sven, Niels?
Yeah, I'm reading the question. I'm trying to figure out exactly the question, the meaning of the question.
Yes, so am I. I think could we, if nobody has the direct answer, could we maybe?
Yeah, maybe we should take this.
I would need a clarification of what a loose KPI is. I know what the KPI is, but I don't know what the loose is. What does it mean, a loose KPI range? But anyway, we can come back to that at a later time and write about it, maybe.
Yeah, well, this was what I was going to suggest. Maybe once we clarify the question, we will write down the answer at the Lions Virtual Universe so that Ciprian would be able to find it there. There are no other questions as much as I could see. There is one comment. It is with regards to our branding and the use of logos. It says that we should actually try to inform all of the Lions to have to use the one logo, the true logo that the association has, because plenty of people think that the association is about animals and not about community service. There are no other questions. So in this regard, I would like to thank to all of the presenters today for a magnificent job. They were working tirelessly for the past 20 days in preparing this virtual classroom. And I think that we've seen very much a lot of interest from our Lions, and I think that we will also see a lot of warm hearts and new ways of serving the community in the near future. Before we break for the day and finish the classroom, I would like to point out to all of you to what I already shared. There will be an email. Look in your mailbox in the following day. There will be an email from Lions Virtual with the handouts and the presentations that were shared today. And the link for the evaluation form. Please fill in the evaluation form so that we could improve our presence in the following events. Before we say goodbye, I need to present to you again, remind you of the Lions Virtual Symposium Beyond the Horizon, which will take place on Saturday, May 23rd, where we would speak about the need of Lions clubs and the districts in Europe to look beyond the horizon. While we are being challenged by the pandemic, our Lions have managed to adapt. We've listened to some of the ways of how to adapt, some better than the others, and therefore sharing experience is key for further growth. Storytelling is key to great service. This Lions Symposium on the 23rd of May will be dedicated to Europe and will look to answer the following questions. How can Lions help Europe recover from the pandemic? Which are the right ways for Lions clubs to operate and function in the current situation? What types of service is most appropriate to ensure that community needs are met during a period of pandemic? And how to ensure that virtual membership satisfies Lions' urge to serve the community, but also to enjoy the fellowship of others? Keynote speaker, immediate past international president Gudrun Ingvadottir. Guest speakers, PID Sandro Castellana, Board of Trustees of for Lions Clubs International Foundation, and PID Robert Redby, Global Action Team, Constitutional Area Leader for Europe. PDG Kasia Gebert from Poland, District Governor Marcel Daniels from Belgium, PDG Marko Gospodziniacki from Slovenia, Vice District Governor Manuela Lotz from Germany, Lion Jordan Glass of the Young Lions Task Force, and Leo Eleonora Fresia from Italy. Join us on the 23rd of May, and thank you for being with us today.